mother of puppets, you who tie and sew and string up your foes, the weaver of dummies who cannot view your whole, your fingers reach out, wrap me so close, weaver of puppets, grant me your nose, keep your promise.
Hey! Hey, you! Do you know how to get out of this place?
To your left.
Right. Thank you.
Statement of Maria Gilliet regarding her claimed demonic possession. Original statement given October 26th, 2009. Statement begins. Before I tell you my story, I swear to God it was not me. I swear to God that I would never do anything like that to anyone, that I would never hurt anyone. The police have a warrant out for my arrest. My photo pasted everywhere, and it will not be long until I am behind bars, but I swear to God that it was not me. I only hope I will be here long enough to give my statement so that somebody knows the truth, so that somebody believes me. I owned a small restaurant in the center of London, and while it did not get a lot of traffic, it got enough for us to get by. We had a few regulars who loved the place, and it honestly brought a bright smile on my face each time one of them entered through the old, creaking wooden door that had been at the front of the shop for longer than I had been alive. You see, it is a family business. I took over after my mother passed away, and I was supposed to pass it off to my children. I cannot really do that anymore. Tom, one of the regulars, probably my favorite. It all started with him. It was about 3 years ago that I saw him enter the store for the first time. Short black hair, tall and pale. Honestly, he did not look any different to any other bloke that usually entered my restaurant. I still remember our first interaction so clearly, and while it was not too strange, it always felt like foreshadowing, somehow. Like the words he spoke to me had a meaning which I one day would understand, but until that day I would just have to have that creeping feeling traveling up my spine, like a parasite waiting for the perfect time to reveal itself. I had no idea how right I was. He came up to the counter, and I gave the usual smile I give any customer who comes to the restaurant, but I did not speak. I usually welcome a new customer in, but this time I did not. It was like my mouth had been sewed shut, but not in an uncomfortable, mean-spirited way, except that was just the way that it was. I cannot explain it any better than that. I was quiet, and I didn't really know why. "I'd like to order a hamburger, please," he said. I waited. He had still not said what type of burger he wanted, but he did not continue speaking. He just stood there and stared at me. Then I looked around awkwardly and asked, "What type of burger?" He laughed at that. Not a mean laugh. Not a funny laugh. It was a laugh that a regular would laugh. A laugh that said I knew exactly what he wanted. But I did not. I did not know what he wanted. No, not then. So I just told him to sit down, and I gave him the one that everyone picks. He gave me a side eye, but did not say anything else. Then that was that. That was our first interaction, and from there he would come each and every day, and while each conversation would be as awkward as the last, I still liked seeing him around. I cannot say that I have a reason for liking having him around. He was weird, kind of impolite. But there was this energy behind him which spoke to me and said that everything about him was fine. For 2 years everything was fine, but I had started to feel more out of control. I had started sleepwalking. I had to chain myself to my bed to make sure I did not go anywhere, and I would rarely wake up when my alarm rang, so my girlfriend always had to wake me up. Each time when I did wake up, I'd have these bruises like I had tried to break free from the bed which held me captive, from the strings that froze me in place. I did not feel any different. I felt fine. Just fine. Not good, not bad, just fine. And after a little while, my routine started to go back to normal. Everything was fine. I woke up. I stepped out of bed, changed, ate, brushed my teeth, went to work, and all that a person does. But I still felt out of control, but rather in a different way. I had also started paying further attention to the words that Tom would say each day I met him. He'd always ask for the same thing. I would like a hamburger, please. And each time I would bring him the same thing. And each time he would give me the same side eye as the day I met him. It was now that I slowly started to understand my mistake. No, that's not quite right. I still understood nothing. At this point I was just doing. Please let that be clear. I was just doing. I was just waking up. I was just going to work. But at the same time, I wasn't. I was not going to work. I was not waking up. I was along for the ride. You know when you step onto a roller coaster and the harness locks you in place? Then the cart starts to move and you just sit there waiting for the thrill you are expecting. It was like that, but there was no thrill. Just another day of meaningless existence passing by my eyes like a flash in the big, wide, and extraordinary universe. I had no control. I was not the driver. I stepped out of bed. But I had not moved my muscles. I walked to work, but I had not moved my muscles. I met Tom again, and he said, I want a hamburger, please. And this time, for the first time in 3 years, I said, no, I did not say. I didn't even move my mouth. It just moved. A voice that kind of felt alien from my own. What type of burger? He smiled at that, and he only nodded. Then whatever was controlling me, waved him behind the counter. They walked into the back room, and I was there, along for the ride, with no choice but to watch. I had no choice but to watch, without blinking, what was about to happen. Tom sat down on the metallic counter in the kitchen. It made a small metallic clunk as he sat down, and then like a flash before my eyes, whatever was controlling me grabbed a knife and made me cut into his liver and rip the thing out. His blood was warm to touch, and the liver was smooth and wet and warm, and I hate to say it, absolutely fantastic to hold in my hands. The thing that was me but not grabbed 2 bread that we used for the burgers and crammed the liver in between them, it clearly being too big to fit in between, and then made Tom take a big, juicy and bloody bite from his own severed organ. Tom did not even react. He almost seemed to enjoy the taste of his own flesh, and that was not the scariest part. The look in his eyes as he bit into his own organ was none unlike my own. A look I saw each and every morning when I looked into the mirror. A look that said everything was fine. Then, once he had taken that big bite, it now put the liver to my mouth. I tried to cry, tried to fight it, but all I could do was put the bloody thing to my mouth and take the worst bite I have ever taken of anything. The blood was metallic, disgusting, and I wanted to visually show it, but my body did not react the way my mind reacted. If anything, my body enjoyed it. I felt myself enjoying it. No, it could not have been me, but I felt like it. It felt like a wonderful cooked dinner that my girlfriend would make for me. Whatever was me but not, ate up the entire liver, and then when it was done, chopped up Tom's body and put the pieces in the backroom freezer. I prayed to any god listening, to anything at all listening, to stop this horrible nightmare, but no, I kept going. The thing that was me but wasn't me then went home. It was late and my daughter had fallen asleep in my girlfriend's lap. They sat on the couch, cartoons playing in the background. Please don't make me explain what it did to them. After Tom, I think you have a few ideas, but seeing it shove my girlfriend's heart into my daughter's mouth, I'm sorry. I can't. I don't want to. But it is like the words want to flood out of my mouth. The explanation of all that happened wrapped into a short little story for you to digest. I am so fucking glad that they are dead. I'm so fucking glad that they do not have to be alive to remember that. I got my control back, and as I sat there covered in blood and human tissue, I cleaned myself up, came to your institute. I'm not sure if that was by choice, and if whatever is controlling me allows it, I think I am going to join my daughter and my girlfriend. Not that they would like to see the face of the person who... Please, call the cops. Statement ends. Final notes. Maria Gilliet was shot by an officer 5 minutes after finishing her statement. She had asked for the cops to be called, and when they came right as she saw them, she launched into a psychosis, running toward 2 armed policemen with a knife she had stashed away in her left pocket. It seems that Gilliet was deeply disturbed, but the thing she yelled right before she died might provide a different perspective. It ties and sews and writes and vows and cries for the hold of all their spider's mind, the web it puppets, and I am its toy. I'm afraid she was shot before finishing her sentence. Perhaps she is just insane, but the web does sound familiar. Didn't know it was a fan of poetry, however. Signed, endurrr, Assistant Archivist at the Institute. You who tie and sew and string and know, I see you, and so does the emptiness. It's wonderful, vast emptiness, its horror, its beauty. I will bring